So it's time for the Netflix Directors Roundtable with Rajeev Masand. Already reacted to the Actors Roundtable, which was funny, which was very informative. I think one of the best roundtables. The concept of roundtable was very well utilized, and I'm hoping the same for this one. We'll get to talk more about the craft. Now it mostly consists of Bollywood directors and the Hindi TV shows, but we have Mahesh Narayanan showing up for Arip. So without any delay, let's have a look. And if you haven't seen the original roundtable, I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out on Netflix India's channel.
Folks, it's so good to see you all here after savoring all of your films and shows this year. It really is a privilege to be able to sit down with the men and women who told some of the most incredible stories and to be able to talk to you about how you do what you do. So thank you, first of all, for those incredible stories.
I've seen most of the stuff here. One movie I've not seen. 2 shows I've not seen. Other than that, I've seen most of the thing.
Also, welcome to the Directors Roundtable of 2022.
Thank you so much. Never thought I'd hear this sentence in context to
first
me.
time.
Most filmmakers will say that making a movie, any movie, is at best like climbing a mountain, and at worst, perhaps going to war. Why is it so hard to
I would agree with those descriptions.
make a movie?
I think it's
People, like the people.
It's not hard to make a movie. It's hard to get it greenlit. It's hard to get an actor to say yes. To make the film is joy.
I agree with that, yes.
That is the most fun part of it. That part is the fun bit. So it's getting people to say yes to your film or agreeing to do your film is
the hard
toughest
I think
for me.
people have a problem with backing a vision because the vision is tough to understand.
Man, his first film, Peddlers, never came out, still sitting with the studio. There's so many outcries to release that. Like even the pandemic, they could have released, but
projects people understand. So maybe as a director on hire, it is easier to get a job. But as a filmmaker, it's tougher.
okay.
As a director from Malayalam, this greenlighting process is very easy for me. It happens in a day.
Wow.
Let's shift there.
We all sit like this around a table. Okay, that's done. That's it. Okay, we're doing it. Okay. We're not doing it and then it's okay. Fine. Let's work on something else.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that is nice.
Ali, do you have a different take on this?
No, I think I just feel it is for different people it could be a different journey, but what I feel every day is on a set to convince yourself that this is the film that you wrote and this is what eventually you want to make is the hardest part, because that process is a rocking boat in the middle of ocean because you don't know.
You keep doubting yourself.
Where you're heading to. Every day you have to convince, nahin, I think I'm right or maybe I'm right, So that makes it little tricky.
Right. Sonam, Soumendra?
I just feel like when you're just sitting and writing, it's just you. And then people come in, more people come in, even more people come in. And then finally the audience comes in as a large element in your head. And then you just start second guessing everything, or you have to explain everything so many times and fight. And, I think just that is difficult.
I think Hemant Rao in the Galata Plus roundtable talked about this, that, the more people come in, they take it away from your original plan as a writer.
And then it's never what that first idea that you had, it's never that in the end. So I think that makes it difficult, that daily fight.
I think you're always fighting against convention. You have X amount of resources and always less amount of time and even lesser amount of the other stuff. And also, as a director, you are also handling a lot of other things that is not part of the direction.
Right.
You have to be the political, you have to be bureaucratic, you have to do all manipulative to get your... That becomes little difficult at times.
Right.
But I think that's part of the human process to enjoy.
If you had to pick one scene that you directed from the films or the shows that you directed this year that you are most proud of, or one performance in each of your projects, what would that be and why?
I think the scene between Raj and Huma.
Everyone talks about that.
Sequence.
Yeah.
Because I was really proud once the edit happened. The first cut also, even in the loose stage, because of the scheduling, as he said, filmmaking is not just telling the story,
Yep.
but it's logistics.
It's management.
Right.
Like who is available till what, who is running off to the next shoot,
Correct.
who's catching a flight and coming when. So within that, the whole heavy lifting had to happen in the first 4 days of the shoot. So even
Okay.
before you get to know each other,
Right.
even though we've known each other as friends for a very long time, like 10, 15 years, but still on the set you have to trust each other and do, and it's plus an action sequence. And so we had to like take the bull by its horns right on the second day. And kudos to the actors to having so much trust and just going with the flow and not just, "Arey script mein to ye tha."
Correct.
And I think only once Huma said, "Are you sure this is Netflix? Tu itna sab kuch bhi kar raha hai, chalega?" I like, let's go for it. Yeah. बाद में footage देख के कुछ बोला तो ठीक है. We'll see. So after that was like great. And I'm really proud of that particular. It almost considers like a short film.
Yeah. Because also it ends so differently, right? Where it starts and where it ends is so clever. Yeah. Lovely. Jasmeet?
For me, it was overall to get the balance of dark comedy right. And we don't shoot in order. I shot the second half first. I shot so many of the comic scenes, like when the constable comes home, they're panicking. And before that, when the TC comes home, they're supposed to be scared. So for me, I had to shoot the constable scene first. So constantly to be aware of the arc as to how high you want to pitch.
That, like when I understood the filmmaking process and everything, right? And like my ignorant brain and childish brain thought, oh, they shoot every scene one by one and then compile it. That's not happened. Like there's so few films that do that, and that they are privileged to do that. Most films, they have to do the heavy duty ones. If there's VFX involved, those sequences shots first. Depends on the location available. Okay, we need to shoot the climax there that is available now, so we have to shoot that first, and then we have to shoot the other part of the film. So it's as I said, it's management. It's management of people, management of everything. Director's job is that. Storytelling comes very early stage in the writing process. You have to get done, and then it's just all this.
In terms of their panic, and yet for the comedy to be very real, because it's dark comedy, it can't be slapstick. So that balance, I think, was important, and I had to constantly be aware of that. But the scene I liked was after Hamza is dead and at the railway station, and when they're in the car and they're coming back, and it all comes together, and they're just looking at each other, and you realize there are
That was a nice reveal. If you have seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about.
two women who dealt with violence so differently. And the daughter has grown to be so much wiser, and she's made her mother proud, but she's gone a step ahead and taught her mother something. So that just comes full circle. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah.
What a great moment. Yeah. Mahesh?
For me, it's not a scene, basically. It's about, since you've seen the film, it's about the fact.
It feels nice that I met him. I feel happy, proud.
So setting up the factory was the challenging part for me. So
he talked about that when I interviewed him. Just plugging that in. If you haven't seen, check it out on my main channel.
Like 9 factories so some had agreed, but eventually, so there is a small scam in the film, so nobody was, and we had to shoot sing sound also. So then finally, my production designer had to set up an entire gloves factory, and we had to produce real gloves for the film. So that was the
But that montage is one of the, my God.
So that was the most challenging part. So, more than a scene, that was the most task.
Right. And then satisfying when it came together.
Yeah. It was very satisfying. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Anvitaa?
I think I'm very happy with all my performances. I love my actors, but so I can't deal with AC. The 24 pay AC is also hard for me, and I'm shooting in the mountains.
My AC is 21 right now, and I'll die. It's too cold.
Mountains in the snow, and I'm wearing so many layers that my arms are like this. So I can't even. I'm feeling so cold. I can't hug myself also because my arms are like that. So in that kind of cold, there was one day that we were shooting, which was that sequence when she runs and she finds Jagan. The snow was almost to the hips, and we'd flattened it so she finds it. But if in the run, we've cut out those bits because she's gone through the snow, and the oxygen was less. But the way she comes running, she's scrambled, she's done everything in that less oxygen. And then we shot that spotlight coming on at night, her running at night, on the same night. And the moment the sun went down, it became -13. It was already about
my God.
-2 during the day. It became -13. It was freezing. Okay, it was so the actor, that degree of difficulty, but at no point in time did she step out of character. Did her performance falter? And most importantly, at night we had to rig. It was the mole beam, huge light. Okay, and they were trying to rig it at a height so that the shape of the spotlight is correct. And everything had frozen. So so my gaffer, Yogi, he climbed on top because it was something that was automated, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
So he
Oh my God.
physically rigged that light in that cold where we couldn't even feel. We were holding hot cups of kava and we couldn't even feel the cup because it was so cold. And he was rigging a light that big and heavy. And the actor was standing patiently in that temperature and whatever you might do, she can only wear those many layers. It's a silk shirt and whatever. And no complaints, no nothing. Everybody doing it with so much love and joy. So I think
Wow.
that to me
If you can get that cast and crew, you are just lucky.
felt magical. That it was not about whether it was difficult or am I proud of it.
And it's not even about money, it's not like you'll get more money if you do this. You have to really surrender to the passion, and the vision of the director and just, okay, it's not like that moment, like, I'll give you 1 lakh extra, just do this. No, that's not what it is.
I think I'm just grateful that there was a degree of physical difficulty during shooting these scenes. The rest, the emotional, whatever, everything, they were amazing. But I don't think I'm proud of anything. I'm just grateful that on that day, they were just so wonderful, So I think that's...
Yeah, it takes a village.
It takes a village. Oh my God, yes.
Ali?
On Jogi especially, because it's a film which is about a very sensitive chapter in the Indian history with one community who's very emotional about it. For me, it was to find a balance that somewhere or the other, it just not like bring the scars back. So because whenever you're venturing into a space which is real, at the same time you want to kind of tell a fictional story in the middle of that, if the balance goes off, the film can go anywhere. Fortunately, we were lucky with the casting and we got Diljit. And there is a scene where him being a Sikh, he has to take off his turban and cut his hair. And he knows that it's the need of the hour because that's what is very, very important in the film. Now for me to explain a Sardar who himself, if you've met Diljit, he's a very proud Sardar, to make him understand that this is the need of the hour and as the character does this. And for him to do it the way he did it in the film, because I only have one take of that. I couldn't do it again and again. And scenes like these are very technical, and especially, I faced this with Salman on Sultan. You can only get an actor to emote once, So for me, that scene was like, I didn't sleep a night before. And the day I shot that scene, I was like, thank God this has happened. And Diljit, he just walked off. He didn't even looked at me. I said, Paji, I'm only going to do one scene. And this is it. You have one take, you do whatever. We fixed the 3 cameras, I sent the crew out. And then he just performed, For me, what's most important is the emotional core of the film. And if you can crack that, technicality you can get on the edit table. But emotion is something which is just there. And once you strike that, then you can't recreate it again and again and again. So that was the scene.
And it's such a powerful scene. It really is. Soumendra?
In season 2, there is a scene where the character Rinku Mandal, the politician, kills his uncle.
Spoilers!
He has gone to this place and he's crying. So then there is another character, Rocky, is there, and there is a conversation between them. So prior to that night, those two actors were very anxious about that scene, and me too, because of the context of how it was happening. So they got, it rained all night, so we couldn't shoot that day.
Right.
So since we couldn't shoot, we went to the other day. That day, every half an hour it would rain. It would break my actor's rhythm. At one point of time, we all three, what all the scene, जिस तरह लिखा गया था उस scene को, we thought it's not working in the middle of the night. It's now 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I have only 3 hours to this thing, and it's a very costly location. We were pre-lighting also. The actor got stuck. I also got stuck. So we are looking at each other, and there's this loss of where do we go from here? And I have to shoot that scene. And my actor got stuck. Maybe if I had those life experiences or the emotional depth, maybe I could have whispered them something. But as an artist, I've found myself lacking. That couldn't be available for my actors, and these are young actors. And it was very devastating because 500 people are staring at them, and it is a very costly location. So we didn't shoot that scene. My actor couldn't sleep for the other night also, and I had to cut off other scenes. So I had to convince my producers that I'm not going back to Bombay unless I shoot this scene. Because this is going to have a lasting impact, not just me, but for my young actors. So I cut those other scenes and we went back again to the shoot and we shot that scene.
Wow.
So even if we had failed, it was fine, but I couldn't have left my actor there. So I thought, I just wished that day I could have told something, looked at them, and maybe as an artist, I felt lacking that there's so much I can observe from life, and maybe I did not have that emotional maturity at that point of time.
Right.
And they were absolutely devastated that. So one scene we shot for 3 nights.
Wow.
But yeah.
Sonam?
I feel like when I
haven't seen the show she did.
Before I made it, the second season, there were some scenes I was really proud of that I wrote. Oh, this scene is amazing, or this scene is my favorite scene. But then when it comes out, I think that's when you realize, oh, this is the scene that I should be proud of. Because of what I've put out there, and how it's impacting the actual audience. So maybe some scenes were there where I felt like my skill level was really good, but actually what happened was that scenes where I spoke about really important things, those became really big. And suddenly the show went from like a fun show to like something that really had a lot of messaging that reached out to a lot of young women. And like there's a scene where Masaba's best friend Jia has a meltdown and she talks about seeking mental health.
Yeah.
It's a simple scene, but I got, hundreds and thousands of messages about it. And while making it, was the second day of shoot, we were like, I don't know what we've done, whatever. And then that had such a big impact. Or the fact that we had like a teenage girl feeling beautiful, and that's what Masaba decides to do, because that's a cause really close to my heart from my first film onwards, that I want like teenage girls to feel beautiful. So that now people saw this and really like teenage girls reached out to me. Those things make you feel really proud. More than like, this scene was really well written or something.
That definitely happens even making videos. The videos you think, this is an okay video, nothing, and then suddenly they blow up. And those are the ones, people watch a lot and talk about and, give you good messages and all. And then there are some videos you put so much work and effort and, you think this is going to work and nothing. So I think that happens.
That's secondary, I think.
There are a lot of good directors. What makes a great director? That's so very different.
Great director. Many films, consistency.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I would.
Over a period, I think, of watching many of their films, you would know that they're great.
Yeah.
So that, yes. I think keeping to, following your voice.
Yeah.
And to be able to protect that forever. I'm just saying that. I've just made one film, so I don't know. I'm just speaking as an audience.
Sure. Yeah. Wasn't sorry.
No, I think anyone who made me feel ecstatic watching that film is a great director. First film or 10th or 20th, doesn't matter. Like for me, that instant greatness.
Right.
Like, which is why I'm wearing this kurta now.
Why?
I just saw a film like day before.
That's right.
Yesterday, so day before.
Yeah.
So, but greatness is like, for that moment is the greatness, na?
Yeah.
And obviously, probably over the years also you will feel the same, or that memory. And so...
A really interesting question. Like as directors, they will not say we are great or something. It's hard to answer. But yeah, I would say, I think a director who just have watching their films, you just feel they have the command over every frame, everything happening in the film. It's under their control, and they are playing. It's all in there like a Katputli. So like everything is their puppet, and what they want is happening on screen. I think once you watch a film like that, you're like, yeah, that was great direction.
I think it's about as everybody said, like, how long the film will last. These days, I often feel that, like, when we think about a concept or something, it expires in 6 months. See, that's the problem what she mentioned about, like, the green lighting process.
Right.
So this happens in 2 years. By the time, like,
yeah.
5-6 films like that is already out in platforms or theaters and like, so, like, how can we judge? Like, this will be a classic, or this will be, like, this doesn't have any kind of timeless reach and all.
Right.
That's difficult to judge. So take, for example, like whatever Salim Javed has written for Sholay, like they never realized that
it's going to have this
like
enduring kind of, yeah.
That can't be judged.
Correct.
When you do it.
Right.
Do it.
Of course not. Yeah.
Anyone else has it?
Yeah, I think consistency, timelessness.
I think for me it's if I forget that I'm watching a film. If I feel, if I laugh, and just that there's truth in that moment. You just तुमको वो इंसान असली लगता है उसके साथ जो हो रहा है that feels that it's.
Just want to say, man, these questions, yeah, like it's all about the craft till now. We are almost like 1/4 into it. I think that what lagged in the previous, the big ones we saw.
Really happening. And it could be anything from Sholay to Chukke Chukke to Angur to Bandini. You feel everything that the character is feeling. I think that is great. That
there was a big issue with the subtitles back there. She said the name of the film and they translated it to "but then."
Forget that I'm watching a fictitious. I think in Barfi, Priyanka.
Yeah.
I forgot she was Priyanka. I forgot it was a film. I thought she was real. I think those things. I guess.
Yeah.
Like her. I'm also 2 films old, so I'm no expert on that.
Who is Ali?
As they said, I think to be consistent is very important, and because by the end of it, as filmmakers, we are making people believe in your stories.
Yeah.
So that is very important. That every time you do something, an audience relate to it. Sometime you will have success in it, sometime you will fail in it. Because, sometimes you can see a great director doing phenomenal work and then maybe next 2 films, they're not doing great work.
Yeah.
So I just feel that if you can do it consistently and make an audience believe in your characters is your strongest strength.
Right.
Sometimes it can be like how Anvitaa said, it could be relatable. Sometimes it can be just, this is a star that I've come to watch, make me feel Amitabh Bachchan.
Right.
So it's different for different films, but if a director can do that, then I think that's the key.
Mark of greatness.
Yeah.
I think it's such a collaborative art. If you take any one puzzle out of it, won't it fall down? So, and direction is like convincing each one of them to see a world that has not been created before. So I think a great team makes a great.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Absolutely.
in Jamtara, we had like days when, because the season 1 was made on a certain kind of budget, they said, do whatever you want to do, take whoever you want to take, but we have only this amount of time. Fine, that bargain was great because those actors are young from NSD, FTI, young actors from theatre. So we had a lot of fun, but we had very less number of resources. Until that lightman would switch off the light, we would keep shooting. And there would be so much joy. Even if they had not had the dinner, they wouldn't have so many things. They would be sharing those rides together.
Correct.
Crammed so that we can get an extra day of trolley or track, that kind of days we had seen in season 1.
Reminds me something. The first film that we did together, my first film, it never came out, but
Peddlers.
It was a DOP.
Right.
And over there, the production manager would tell us, "Is location mein bulb hai." From there to this, मतलब अब तो सिद्धार्थ तो पूरा फिल्म सिटी पे लाइट लगवा रहे हैं।
नहीं, अब वो प्रॉब्लम अभी भी है।
आपको तो बजट का ऐसा
I was going to ask.
Yeah, Ali Abbas Zaffar.
Ali's not connecting with any of this.
Say what he said. He said, but Sultan, it's all shot in India.
That's his.
I'll tell you one thing. See, I relate to these problems because a budget for a director is never a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Actually, I was
depends.
going to ask, is it ever enough?
Not at all. Not at all. Like today, you know, when people say, oh, you make big films and you have crores to spend, but you to understand, to create that kind of vision, if you are telling that story, that budget is not enough. I'll give you an anecdote. I was in at a festival in
This is interesting.
Abu Dhabi, which was just a marketing festival, and someone saw the film. The whole film was shot in Abu Dhabi, 80%, and these people were from LA, and they somehow saw that film, and they came up to me and they said, "Wow, what a job, great!" And they said, "How much budget did you have?" And I said, "I had 120 crores to make the film." Now, for an Indian standard, 120 crore is a huge budget, and they were shocked because to get that kind of scale for 120, I was working 18 hours a day with an actor who we all know very well, you know, and being sleepless for 90, 100 days. And a film like that, if you can in 90 days, is yes. No, so I just feel that when you have a budget problem with a scale, it will always be the same. I don't think so. Any director, even if you call Michael Bay or you know, James Cameron and says that, okay, you have enough budget, he'll say, I don't have budget.
उनका तो कैमरा कस्टम मेड आता है।
Yes. So it's that problem of budget will always be there.
That's so true because, see, whatever you can, if budget will never be enough. Like, only if I had more money, I could have shot that in that location and the scene would have been better. But now I have to just compromise. But filmmaking is all about compromises, you know, because you'll never have enough. If you give you infinite budget, you'll never end up making a film. That's why there's a quote that, you know, film is never finished, it just gets released. Because it will never end. You always want to make it better, and you have to end somewhere.
My favorite moment till now in this discussion was Vasan's face. When he said 120. Vasan ने एक लंबी सांस ली.
I am very
When Mahesh's face was like, whoa.
like limited in that sense. Like, you know, when you take off, like, say for example, like, you know, it was made with 6.5 crores. So the thing is, like, I couldn't shoot any scene completely because, you know, half of my set is in Kerala, which is Iraq. Every time I will tell my actors, this is Iraq, okay? You are acting in Iraq.
Don't forget.
And I have to source all the Arab-looking people from northern part of Kerala because there is a small descent from Kasaragod. So I have to cast all these people from there. And then one day there will be like Iraqi army, and the other day they will be like IS soldier. Like,
They were confused
because they wore a mask, and then
you can become
they become like that. So I have to treat no budget. So, you know, I had this one scene where, you know, one boy has to run from the hospital. The child has to run.
But I have to say it, you cannot see any of that in the film. It is so well made.
From the hospital, and then the exterior was actually in Hyderabad, and the very outer building is in Ras Al Khaimah. So he has to remember the continuity for 8 months. And after that shot, then he was asking me that now again I have to run some other location. I have to go. No, this is done.
You know, I had the same issue. So I did a show which was set in Kashmir, but we couldn't shoot in Kashmir, so we shot in Himachal. But there was no budget for extras. So someone got 4 Kashmiri guys with the same one firan, grey color ka charo ko, and they are in it's an 8-episode series. They are the only extras in the whole village. They are the doctors, they are the chai wala, they are teachers, they are soldiers, they are terrorists.
That's what it's like. The cinema is like a movie is like, what do you say? It's fooling you, fooling the audience. It's a magic trick, you know. That's what it is. You know, it's not all real people, but it's about telling that story. You should be lost in that world. If you're good at that craft, then all these things doesn't matter.
And there was no budget to wash their clothes, okay? So their outfits was stinking. It would be a room full of like snow outside, 4 of these men, and I'm like, आज क्या बन रहे हो तुम लोग? अच्छा ये cop का outfit पहनो और जाओ थोड़ा कल नहा के आना please. But it's fun.
It's fun.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's okay. Nobody cares.
You know, when you watch the first edit of your film or your show, what bothers you the most?
I think it's just
That extreme.
yeah. In fact, even I think the Coen brothers have said this is the first reaction.
What is that reaction?
Just slit your wrist and just like retire.
She clearly didn't have that reaction.
No, I was very happy.
Yeah, you're blessed.
Everybody scared me so much that editing, and I was enjoying maybe it's the first film. So I said it lands. Abhi kar lenge. The story is coming through. For me,
Sure.
then of course people had to watch it and give reaction and all of that. But I was okay.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Because, you know, it's a dark comedy, balance, everything had to just fall in place. And for me, that was very important. Emotions also.
But my first cut is like the cut.
Oh, it is a
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
What?
My first cut doesn't work. There's not much difference. Because
That's precision.
my first cut is like,
Yeah, you're so full karjat ka
is the
sara.
cut for me.
Like start
The first cut
somewhere.
was the fight.
first cut
little bit.
that you sit on.
Mine was very little
That's
changes.
incredible precision.
Hardly there is any change in first cut.
Because it's
to
just
the
short
end.
enough.
Yeah.
So for me, being an editor, like edited some 60 films, so I'm into the zone only. So
60?
Yeah, 60. So the thing is like I write for my edit. So that's how these films are made in very small budget. Like, you know, this is the shot. So actors will never get convinced because they need this organic flow. Especially an actor like Fahad. He will tell, no, I'll start from here. But now he's tuned to my way of filmmaking. Like, you know, now you start from here only. You know? So some people have actually told me, like, you know, even Lovely from here, like, you know, don't make me act within your scissors. So, you know, don't do that. So it is
He
basically
said that to me in my interview also. Proud.
editor's problem. I don't recommend it to my assistants also. Don't do that. But, you know, what I normally do is that once my film, the principal photography is done, I normally show my edit to all my crew members.
Okay.
Because edit goes parallelly.
Right.
Not on location, but in my hotel room or somewhere, I used to do it. So basically, when they're going back, now they're happy.
Right.
Like, you know, whatever they have done, like, you know, they have seen it and then happily.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That's incredible.
Certain films, it's tricky. Yeah? Like, you know, see you soon. It's very tricky for see you soon.
Because that was also technically so complex.
Yeah, but nobody knew what was happening.
Correct.
That was a problem because, you know, 2 actors has to complete the act.
Right.
Then only it is done.
Correct.
So it's completely made on the editing. Stuff.
Ali?
My first reaction is, shit, ये तो short film बन गई.
As if not short enough?
No, it's like you edit it so much that it's like एक ही घंटे की है ये तो, you know, because it's.
That's interesting.
I just feel that edit is films are made according to me in 2 places. One is scripting and one is edit.
Yeah.
Shoot is just a mid process and edit is when you start seeing all your flaws. And that is why I'm very scared to get into edit. So I, for the longest time, says to my editor, "Tu karta rahe. Koi problem hai to batana." Because agar problem nahi hai na, I don't even want to get into that room.
Right.
So by the time I get into the room, then for me, it's again, and especially if you're fortunate enough that Jogi was a Netflix film, because here you have a lot of time, you can go back and forth. But if you have to meet a release date, then it becomes altogether a different ball game because you're working for a date, then you're not happy with your edit. And especially if there are a lot of big people involved who want to come, who also have a seat of power around you.
He's revealing a lot of secrets.
बोलो अभी तो shooting खत्म नहीं हुई सर अभी patch बचा है.
Delay it as much as you
Yeah. I to keep telling everyone, including Adi and Salman both, sir, अभी तो patchwork है थोड़ा निकलेगा.
But actually, once I get past this stage, then it's the best.
So much
then it's
fun.
the best thing to do.
It is.
I enjoyed editing.
Yeah. But the first is
Till the time you
These
go through
things,
that.
this way people scare you. So people told me that leave the film for
अपने
3
shoot से
months,
खुश
let
होना
him
ना-
edit, and then you go and watch it. I couldn't wait 2-3
लेकिन
months.
अपने
I
शूट से
just
खुश
went
होना तो
into
zen है. अपने काम से खुश होना zen है. सच में उससे बड़ा pinnacle कोई नहीं है.
But edit is a scary space to be in, to be really honest. Because sometimes things which you feel are working on set don't work on the edit at all.
Right.
At all.
But emotional
Interesting.
scenes, you know that. It's
Yes, emotional scene works, but
without looking at the edit,
Yes,
because
yes.
I don't see the footage, so it bothers my producers all the time.
then you start looking for other people's close-up.
During
अरे इसका
entire shoot,
काटना,
never see the footage.
इसका opposite ले, ये overlap में ले line.
So being a writer
सब
and
पकड़ा जा रहा है
editor at
problem.
the same time is a difficult task, Rajeev. That's the most difficult part.
Right.
Being the writer and the editor.
And director.
Director, okay, director to writer and the editor. Writer, director and the editor. So that is a difficult task.
Yeah.
Because you have to be critical on your own stuff. Like,
You edit your own movies.
yeah, I write.
Writer,
You don't get a...
Writer, director also, the first process starts even on the set only because you've written a line with a certain kind of timing and a certain kind of flow and an actor butchers it. And you say, अरे यार, ये बदल देते हैं, ये बदल देते हैं. नहीं, I will say the same line. The line is very good, but it's not like that. To convince that part is also a very big deal,
Right.
So
He's mostly talking about Salman.
then it comes on edit. Then you say, अरे ये तो वो line ही नहीं है जो मैंने लिखी थी. अब इसे काट ही दो edit पे. So by the end of it, your best lines are not in their final cut. So
It reminds me of that scene from Luck by Chance. Anurag, खून, ठीक है, murder कर देते हैं.
actually, it's very stressful.
Anvitaa, you've been awfully silent.
Yeah, I've been just listening to everybody, so much fun.
Did you have a take?
So I realized very early, my first film, I've never been a director before. So I had a breakdown. I shot to that breakdown. And then my editor came and then he's like, he opened the bin and he's like, oh, कुछ गड़बड़ हो गई है, conversion में shots ही नहीं है.
Are you serious?
So I was like, है ना? He says, इस bin में एक shot, इस bin में, I said, single shot में हो जाता है. So he's like,
Oh no.
coverage नहीं है, master नहीं लिया था. ऐसे master क्या होता है मुझे ये पता है, पहले ये होता है, फिर ये होता है, फिर ये होता है. मैं shoot करके लाई हूँ. So
Oh
then
my
next
God.
time it was, again there was there's a breakdown and I follow. Because I've written it, I can see it in my head. I break it down a certain way and I shoot that. And by second editor comes and tells me, ते सारे shots क्या लिए हैं तूने? I was like, तुम लोग कभी खुश नहीं होते क्या? But I generally just feel really pleased when I see the lineup. Like there's a friend of mine, Anshay Lal, director. He said there should be an award that says, "Bhai, तूने picture बना ली."
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Like just to, at the end of the day, if you have made something watchable, that's a victory in itself. That's enough. Then over that, if you can make you feel and this and that and in layers and nuances and all of that, then that's why we say great filmmakers.
Category not debut, director, nothing. भाई तूने picture बना ली.
सबको award मिलना चाहिए.
So I feel like that. कि भाई picture बन गई. Then उसके बाद editor will come and say, oh, अब मुझे बचाना पड़ेगा तुम्हें.
Yeah, but midpoint, nobody is interested except you. Yeah. You have to, by midpoint of the film, everybody is fighting, only you are interested in the film. So get everybody together, it's like one big hell of a task. Yeah.
लेकिन single take लेने के बाद फिर गोदा टूपो, फिर jump cut.
Never, I don't even allow single.
That is actually an editor's line. I've tried that to many filmmakers.
Why do they do that? No, she's right. They always do it. Why
No,
just
that is
one
actually-
shot?
And then disappointment on the look, and then empathy, pity, lots of nice expressions.
मुझे ही मदद करनी
कोई बात नहीं, then they say, and you're like, but I was happy. What do you mean कोई बात नहीं?
हम लोग save करेंगे.
हाँ, ऐसा सहानुभूति वाले pats on the shoulder.
What is the biggest lie that directors tend to tell actors?
Nice one.
Everything.
I have an issue that like I'm too friendly, very warm, very nice, and then after shoot is over, like the actors want to remain friends. They think that like I'm that person, and I was
And you're
just
done. The relationship's over.
manipulating everybody. Like, I don't want to see your face now. Like, it's like, no, we're not best friends. I was just
I like this
doing my
honesty.
job. That has happened a lot, and now I'm a little conscious of it, and I'm just like, I don't do over friendliness because I don't want to be like known as this like really manipulative person, but you have to do that. Like, especially if you're doing something like really fun, feel good, then like,
Yeah,
you have to create that
Take the tone,
environment.
yeah,
But later on the edit, I'm just irritable, I'm cranky, I'm just like not that person.
But actually, it happened in the first day of shoot. That was the first day. The season 2, first day shoot after 1.5 years. So that location has a very airy feeling because of the memories of the character, what they have gone through. So we take the first shot, take the second shot. Nobody is in rhythm because of the first day, and there is a very big scene. By third take, I know that they are not going to get it. Nobody is going to get it. But I continued till the mid. Till 2 o'clock, I continued doing that. Just for the actor. I knew that it won't come in the edit. And they're asking, sir, mila kya? I can't look at the eyes and say that we are not getting there. So by the time I changed the shot from Sunny to Gudia, he got it. He got that rhythm.
The rhythm,
We again reshot it. But it still didn't make it to the edit. But I just, for the actors, I did that. I completed that scene because that was the first day after 2 years of shooting.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's not a lie. But if they're not getting it, you can't just... Sometimes all actors are different.
Yeah, but they're
Some
looking at your
actors take
eye
it well.
and they are saying, did I get it?
Yeah.
If I say they're young actors, they're hardly
Yes.
20, 20.
Yeah.
No, you didn't get it. And
Confidence.
Crushed. Yeah.
200 people staring, so it is going to break them.
Yeah.
So I told, we'll get there.
Experienced actors also sometimes need to be told, no, it's
Anybody-
fine, let's just do it another way.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Very sweet.
And they're
They need
so
that.
sensitive also. No?
Yes.
You can't hurt them. They're
Yeah.
doing
They're
all
small
of... They're
children.
naked for you in front of the camera.
Sometimes you're not even looking at the monitor, looking like this and say, "Mil gaya, mil gaya, aage badho."
It's never happened.
Yeah.
It's all love only.
Yeah.
Because you found another solution to
full
it.
Got to love them.
And all of them are my good friends. It's just that I have a deadpan face, so they don't know how much I love them.
How much love?
But,
The opposite of my problem.
but I love all my actors, and there's never been a moment of
me also,
because मेरे को तो लगता है जरूरत से ज़्यादा ही अच्छा कर रहे हैं.
But have any of you ever thrown a tantrum? A temper tantrum on the set?
Yeah, yeah.
No, that you
not
can't
at
do.
all.
It's not important. I mean, it's not needed sometimes.
No, that you can't do. Right? It's
Who
difficult.
need it for effect?
With
No.
I mean, I
actors,
don't know.
No.
It's not for actors. It's most for production.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, the main.
No, I think I have. I have.
On
I
that
have.
kind
Because
of
you were
massive set, I
upset.
would imagine. Yeah.
No, I just feel that, see, first of all, I believe that on a film set, sometimes you're clueless as a director and everyone wants a direction from
Right,
you.
is looking at
from your cameraman to you. So continuously you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're lying to your actor, you're lying to yourself because somewhere or the other in that chaos, you want some peace and sanity for yourself. Okay, listen, I have to get these pages done, you know. I have small budget to get these pages done. You know?
120.
I have small budget. And at some point of time, I think it's very important for a filmmaker to have this, command on a set that this is the set which is governed by a person sitting behind the camera.
Yeah.
It can't have anyone else's tantrums. So you have to set that protocol in one way or the other. And sometimes you
sense.
have to, like you cannot let anyone else take the ropes in the hand and say, tum idhar jao, tum udhar jao, tum udhar jao, because then it does not work. Because I rather make my own mistake and feel sorry than to let someone else make a mistake and say, yaar, maine to kiya hi nahi yaar, mujhe to jo bol rahe the main wo kar raha tha. That's not in a good space to be in.
Yeah, so if that's what's the space, I would have thrown a tantrum, but I didn't have. Luckily, it was not. Luckily.
Also,
You are very lucky on your
we are
first
not
film.
shooting in chronology, na. So
Actors are
as he
early,
mentioned, we have to convince them that the previous reaction will be good. They have never done that reaction.
That reaction, right,
So
right.
we have to convince them this will be better. Okay, now this is good. Every time that conviction comes from us, even if it's we are not convinced. Sometimes we have to tell them that we are convinced with that.
Come from a place of a lot of love.
Yeah,
That's the only way.
the only way to
Otherwise-
make a film. Yeah.
Otherwise, it will become difficult because they really need it. It's a very tough. So what I did because full disdain, writer coming on to direct, disdain for actors. So before I went on set for Bulbul, I did a 15-day acting workshop. just to know how they feel. And I came on set. Like, "Tum log kitne achhe ho."
Wow, that's interesting.
Because I had no empathy for.
Right.
Because for a writer, pehle director, producer, फिर actor, everyone is just ruining what you've written. Then you are like, it was just, I feel a lot of love for it.
There's no other way. And trust. If you're distrusting and you're being too smart, then it will never come out well.
Yeah.
You're not the smartest guy. You're just the person.
And eventually your film is between action and
True.
And also
They
a lot
have
of
to be
time,
feeling-
not because the actor is bad, because you are afraid to explore a part of yourself you are not communicating. So I've realized that. So if an actor had not done well, it's never with the actor, it's with the director.
Yes.
Because it's your job to
Been afraid
guide
to
them.
explore
That's
that
your
area
job.
of my life. So I've done that.
And no one looks at directors as vulnerable people, you know.
Correct.
This is इनको तो सब पता है.
Right.
इसीलिए वहाँ बैठे हैं.
Correct.
They don't understand there's an emotional core to you. You know, you could have had a bad day in the morning. Producer might have said something to you. Some actor might be throwing tantrum. Everyone looks, these are people who are blocked people. इनके पास कुछ भी जाके बोलोगे ना, they will have a solution to
For it, right.
So, and that is a process, I
That's the
think.
job.
Yes,
But yeah.
that's the job. And that, to maintain that sanity for 90 days or 100 days with that consistency, you know, because I have never seen people in a rap party complaining. Never in my life. They could be fighting, there could be bad blood on the 5th day, 15th day. On 90th day, everyone is only hugging you and saying,
That's true.
Agli film saath karni hai. You know, so that's something that is a part of every film. So you know, this is it. Now you have to make these 90, 100 days the best days of your life.
90, 100 days मिला के 3 फिल्में की नहीं.
No, I was also
Reacting
doing the
to all your
math
thing,
कि हम 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 हम 6 का बजट मिला के भी उससे
You called me on the wrong table.
ये कहा गरीबों के साथ बुला लिया. Sorry, Ali.
No,
it's fine.
But I have to say, we have to be so nice to the actors and the crew.
No one.
And then nobody's nice to us, you know. One day I said this, some actors had done some intense scene and they were like, you didn't even say that we did such a good job. I said, nobody ever comes and tells me that आज तुमने अच्छा direction किया. रोज मुझे बोलना पड़ता है. अब आज तुम लोग बोलो. Every day, very good.
That they'll say, watch the cut and say, हाँ ठीक है.
कभी set पे
See, so that I would say, you know, it's like in a company, the employees don't tell the boss, sir, you did a great job. You know, you are doing great job in running the company. The boss says to employees, oh, you did the great job, right? I think it's that. Maybe some company people say that to their boss, to that, you know, butter and all. But yeah, I think that's your job. Everyone is doing what you want there. So, you know, why would they tell you you're doing a great job? Audience will tell you you did a great job.
But we are the host, so it's like...
Host.
Yeah.
You know, for many directors, there's a period when they do great work and then they don't. It's often brief. Are you worried that you might have talent for a moment and then it may pass? Or it may be gone?
Every time I sit down to write, every time I sit down to write, when it's the blank page, whether it's a song for someone else or whether I'm writing my own script, in that moment,
She's a
of
lyricist,
course,
by
there's
the way.
imposter syndrome. You
Also.
feel like, then you try to evoke that feeling of what it felt like to get an idea, you know, so you try to channel that. But I think it only happens then. But for me, because I never set out to become a director, so this is like a gift.
Right.
So I'm not thinking beyond this one. So that is not there. But for paper, for writing, it happens.
It happens.
It happens.
Writing, that's true. Writing, and also you're always as good as your last film. That's it. That's it. Like, you know, in terms of commercial success or critical acclaim, anything, you're always good as your last film. Also, writing is the most sensitive and the painful part. That nobody cares about it. Like, you know, shooting is as mentioned very well. Like, you know, it's a joyful process. Like, you know, if it's, you can enjoy that if everything goes well. writing is the hardest part. And I think, being relevant, it's not about watching other films, or I think we should also create a pattern where, one film should not be similar to the other.
True.
Like, if you take, for example, music directors. So if ek gana acha laga, one song is good, they follow the same template. Okay, this is working.
Right.
So that doesn't satisfy a director.
Correct.
It doesn't come into that place. You have to challenge yourself.
Correct.
And make,
He talked about that to me also in my interview. Plugging it again.
Next thing, something, which we have not tried.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a book now, Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. So we maybe have to go to different rich sources and life experiences. I just completed reading this book, Bob Dylan's biography. Fantastic it is. So wherever he was slacking in, because of his lack of life experiences, so actually he went to other spaces in his life where he could explore more of life. That reflected in his art. So maybe I think, because we take it as a profession, so that bucket has to be filled up completely.
Yeah.
I think so.
Maybe I don't think consciously I'm even there to even chart a career. Because, filmmaking hasn't come easy. Not the art, the opportunity. So, I still remember I had admitted my wife in the morning. We were having a kid. I went for Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota narration. The guy was yawning. Then in between, my sister-in-law messaged, I think it's time. Then I left. I left anyways knowing that he's not giving money. So, filmmaking is... So the idea is to get the story right and to make it. How good or bad doesn't matter only.
Yeah.
How greatness and all doesn't matter only.
जो बनाना चाहते
ये तो
थे,
वरदान है यार.
वो बनाने को
बहुत दूर है. Career and all that is like... है ही नहीं.
Neena ji told me that पूरी जिंदगी struggler बन के रहोगे तो लंबा career जाएगा. Like stop thinking of yourself as something, or just be a struggler, be an underdog. You'll go far.
Yeah. Dude, you finish your shoot, you do something, and then the next day you watch someone's work, and you're like, क्या काम कर रहे हैं लोग? And you're like, nothing. Yeah, just getting filmmaking opportunity, especially following your voice and your vision. If you get those opportunities, it's enough.
Sonam and Soumendra, both of your shows, Jamtara and
I know I used to call it Jamtara. I don't know why.
Masaba, both were very successful. The first season was very successful. They clearly found an audience. What do you need to go with going into season 2? What were the pressures? What were the opportunities? How do you approach season 2 of a show that has already been loved? Also, given that we live in times when data is everything, did you have to refashion storylines or work around character arcs that you had originally conceived based on the data that streamers were giving you?
A little bit. I think it was also like this was the first time when I made something and like there was a lot of audience feedback immediately. So even before Netflix gave me some of their points that this part did well and this, I knew because I had that immediate response coming in that this has really worked, this hasn't worked, whatever. And then I think while we were figuring out the story beats, there were shows and films that were doing better than the others, and there was not like you have to do this, but there were some soft suggestions that this might be becoming popular in the next few months, or maybe this angle would do well and stuff like that. Like the romance angles, the first season there was hardly anything, but in this season there was kind of like I didn't go into it trying to do like a love triangle kind of thing, but then data from Netflix told me that it might be nice to see some love and some hot boys. So then we were like, okay, let's do it. It's fun. Let's put it in there and then like make a funny like trope out of it and go against rom-coms and show that rom-coms are basically fuck boys trying to fuck your head and all that. But let's do something. So I think all of that came from Netflix, but also like we saw what the audience was saying. So I knew that we should put these things.
After season 1 worked, I talked to my actors. People will think your performances are fluke. So do we really have it in us to go to season 2? And because
Interesting.
there was so much to do in season 1 which we couldn't do for a lot of reasons.
Right.
We wanted to come again and say ki we are good enough. So I told my actors ki if you are really good enough, so it should reflect in season 2. Because season 2 is going to test you as an actor. So they were more up for the challenge. And there was season 2 story was much more of Jamtara than season 1. There was so much to be told, which we couldn't explore in season 1. So we were more excited to explore that space. As
I haven't seen these shows, but the answers are quite interesting.
storytellers. Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
sure. I want to ask all of you, do you have heroes or role models outside of the film world?
I don't know. I really enjoy just people watching and use a lot of that in everything I do. And I mean, I don't know heroes, but I admire like regular people way more than film people actually. And I'd like to reflect my work. My work also should look like it's real people, real things, not like I don't want to like impress other film people. I want other people, real people to enjoy the work. Yeah.
But growing up, I think A.R. Rahman music a huge influence in making movies, because for the first time I thought music could be ecstasy also. I think A.R. Rahman music did that to you. Before that, it was soothing.
I think
But
the
his
question was
music
not from film
takes you
industry.
somewhere else. So that wanted to make to capture that whole music, how it would be visually, it can be captured. So growing up, A.R. Rahman music, a huge influence. I think it took me somewhere else.
I think my parents were movie buffs in their own way. So they never were like TV time come karo, VHS come dekho. And even my video library guy would give me really inappropriate films. like Peter Jackson's first film, Bad Taste.
Yeah.
Much before like Lord of the Rings and all happened. So it was great culture at home. My father introduced me to Bruce Lee and Bachchan. So that's cool. My mother introduced me to all the like K. Balchandar and Bharti Raja and those guys. So, and also in Doordarshan, they would never ask me, what is this boring film you're watching? Because, we are from the generation where color bar bhi interesting hota tha.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So it was great that I'm a product of the TV, VHS. So my parents, and then of course my wife Prerna, who was like, मेरे को admit करके narrate करने जा film. She's a hero.
Yeah, of course.
So
He said hero and the subtitle said heroine.
and my daughter now. So my family is
Sure.
my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, all of them. They are heroes.
I love it.
Yeah, family for sure, but also I think a lot of writers, poets.
Yeah.
My dad introduced me to a lot of writers like Sahir or Ghalib or, Manto and all of that. So I grew up reading that. I think I look at poets a lot. So yeah, writers, poets, like lots of kinds of Bukowski, Neruda. So these are all heroes. And you have a conversation with an author when you read a book. So I think that really is inspiring and engaging.
Nice.
For me, there are lots of film school friends who never became filmmakers or anywhere in the industry, but they are always like heroes for me because they work in, some are journalists. So I pick up stories by surroundings. So they bring me stories. They tell me, these.
Most of his films, I talked about him in an interview, again plugging it in, that, it's all inspired from true events.
Things are happening. Why don't you look at these kind of things? So it's always good to have friends like that. They always wanted to be in films, but they couldn't. They consider themselves as unlucky people, but I don't think like that. I think they are living a better life than us.
They're enjoying.
Yeah.
Anvita?
I had a teacher called Mrs. Raghubir. She taught me only for 1 year, but I felt the most seen by her. So she is the one who told me that I should become a writer, and I wanted to be a chef. But she told me that I'm a writer, and she said many wonderful things to me, charted out. So she'd actually thought about what my career should be like and what I should do and which city I should go to and what job I should do. And she was not that teacher. She was not the affectionate, friendly teacher. She was slightly scary, but she was amazing. Because to be that teacher who can see an invisible child and think about that child and know what that child is going to be. And every library, so again in Teachers Come the Librarians, who gave me, so we were allowed to issue only one book, but I got 5 because I could read a book a night. Then it became 3 books a night because my speed kept increasing. So all those librarians who cheated and gave me extra books. And Mrs. Raghuveer, I mean, I am who I am today because at every step of the way, I've told myself, when everybody else said no, including myself, I would remind myself, but she said I could do it.
Right.
Wow.
And that is what has kept me
That's a really nice story to make a film about.
going.
Oh, amazing.
Very sweet.
Oh, amazing. What is the
He didn't ask Ali.
most challenging experience that you've had with an actor? You don't have to name the actor if you like. Just tell us
Don't
the
look at me.
It's a little hard.
You're just looking straight at me and saying you don't have to do
People who've
that.
done very little work. Because you're talking about.
I had a great time with my actors. But it was like to humanize Hamza was something that Vijay and I really spent like a lot of time before shooting to just humanize him, to hope and pray that people will think that he can change in spite of being what he is. And that worked. A lot of people said that we thought in the cop station scene that he might, because he's quitting alcohol and whatever. So that was hard to find that, because he played it with such honesty in some scenes. So they are that, but not...
Not what I'm looking for.
No, not what you're looking for.
Such a great collaboration, you and Vijay. Super, spectacular.
Yeah, it was good. Really good.
I don't think we'll answer this question.
Yeah, Alia was lovely. Like, she's fab to shoot also. Chef.
Actually, because
I was
probably
spoiled.
ours is still like, not the conventional superstars with multi-million-dollar films behind them.
We're going to look at you.
We don't have that.
Look at me and say
experience.
Yeah, you are just rubbing it now. Don't look at me.
No, I'm not asking.
You're asking for a promo line. Okay, this is the line that I will put on YouTube and then I'm done. No, but I will tell you a great anecdote.
Please.
Which is because, see, I think, it's like, it's a sport, you know. I treat a film set like you are on a field जहाँ पे कोई नया bowler रोज नई ball डालेगा, ठीक है? And you have to duck sometime, you have to hit, you know. And the actor that I have worked a lot, and I love him to death, वो तो like every day there is a new swing that is coming, so you don't know what will happen at 12, 2, 4, 6. So, and he has a wicket.
Without taking the name, we don't know who he's talking about. I have no idea. I don't know what he's talking about.
Sense of humor, and I think we got along because both of us had wicked sense of humor. So we were shooting for Sultan, and I gave him this look where we buzzed his hair, this, that, made him fat, wearing a sweater, and we were shooting in a village in UP. He was sitting on a scooter. And just before the lunch break, he came, I took one shot, and then it was lunch. Like, that was the process. Early morning, I was shooting all the other stuff. And when the lunch break happened, now junior artists were normal people from the village. So I and he are talking, and one junior artist walks to Salman and says, lunch ka laga hai? So he looked at me, and there is an awkward silence.
What have you made me?
And I said, na, aap jaiye, wahan seedha hai lunch aage. And then he turns around to me and said, ban gayi film.
If they can't recognize him, that's so
cool. That is so cool.
And I said, Bhai, that's a great thing. And he started the scooter that he was riding and he left.
Wow.
So things like this, these are things which you feel on film set that you can handle or you cannot handle, but you have to duck these deliveries every day to face. So it's challenging. I would say it's challenging.
Yeah.
It brings the rest of the crew together really fast, I feel, if there's like a villain for that day. When everybody else is like, we'll do it. And that's also its own fun.
Yeah.
I thought I'd end by asking all of you, what's your fantasy project if you had complete creative control and no budget limitations?
It cannot happen.
But he said Avatar also has that reputation.
Yeah. he just said, and there was a statement where he said that I was tied up on this one. I had no budget. I was
So
like,
there is no such thing.
There's no such- But what if, in a utopian world?
I have.
Yeah, please.
So there's this author called Terry Pratchett.
Yes.
Okay? And of course, the Discworld series, there's a lot that is there, but there's an entire series which has these witches. Okay? There's Esme Weatherwax, Nanny Ogg, and the third one, the three witches.
Man of
There's
war.
like 9 books of that.
She's very read.
I would love to
Well
make
read.
that. I would love to make it, and I would cast, because it's utopian, I would cast Kate Blanchett as Weatherwax. I would cast Judi Dench.
I hope anyone from Netflix is listening. Get her, get all those actors. You can make a great Netflix show from an Indian director for the whole world. Netflix. I hope you're listening.
As Nanny Ogg.
This, I think, question is put by Netflix. That's what I feel. If it's in their budget, they will like, yeah, let's do it.
And I would cast Emily Blunt as the third one. And that is my. That's
Really
my
give it some thought, yeah.
That's my. Of course, I think because I love those books, and I keep thinking about, somebody else will make it, but I want to make this. And these are the
Come on, Netflix, do it, please.
women who should play it. Somebody just cast them and make this, because Pratchett and she's also one of my heroes.
Heroes, right.
Weatherwax is one of my heroes. When I grow up, I want to be Esme Weatherwax.
I don't know. Start. I'm thinking.
Okay. So I have a unrealized project, so which didn't happen after my first film. So if I have that kind of a budget, then definitely I will try that. So it's as I was mentioning earlier, like, since projects would get greenlighted very fast, but there are projects, if there is no greenlighting happening, then it's never happening.
Happens, right.
So there is a project
Don't
which
say
I've
that.
no sometimes it happens, like, there is a thing which there's a script which I've narrated to like, say, 5 actors all together, like all over India, some 20 producers, 20 studios. So by the time sometimes we feel that, like, in one narration that like I've done this film. Because these narrations keep on going. Okay, I've done this film. These visuals are there. Okay, I've done this. Why am I narrating it again? So I have this thing that, okay, if I'm getting a kind of budget and full kind of creative freedom with no language barriers and all, so I'm eager to do that.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, he's not gonna reveal? Okay. That makes sense.
Yes, it's the film before Darlings that I was trying to do. I mean, I would love to
Yes,
make that.
please make it.
And so that is my
it's
next
Beautiful story.
fantasy, if one would say, but dream.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Ali, Tiger in Space.
He wants to make a film in 6 crores. That's his fantasy. जैसे मैं 2 करोड़ में छोटे बजट की indie film बनाऊंगा.
But Jogi was that, I
That's
made it
true.
in a budget which was very tight.
Yeah.
So I seriously don't know, honestly. It's a kind of a question which never occurred to my mind. But yes, there are stories which I want to say. I don't know whether they will require budget or not. But yes, I'm strongly inspired by the Maurya age.
Oh, yes.
In the Indian history.
Oh, yes.
And especially Chandragupta and Chanakya are 2 of my very favorite characters. And there's a chapter in Gupta's life which is very fascinating, because it's the same time when Alexander was actually conquering India.
Yeah.
And they were down on the eastern side in Patliputra. And there's a chapter where he actually goes into the Alexandrian army.
Yep. Oh man, I love that. There was a show called Chandragupta Maurya, and they showed this part, and I don't know how realistic and accurate, like, who knows, man, what happened in history. But it was so fun. I love that show.
Which is a beautiful chapter, because Chanakya says, "Ye Sikandar hai." He's the one who's conquering the world.
Correct.
So you go and learn what his army does.
Right.
And he goes on to the other side and disguises himself to be a soldier in, So there's some really fascinating text
Such a
there.
fascinating thing.
Yeah. So I just feel that someday, that is a kind of story that I want to
Oh man, that'll be amazing.
say it at a level which is more global,
Sure.
Netflix, hello. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Terry Pratchett, Netflix.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, but that's
Me, yeah, this I haven't never thought about, but if Ali is ever making Mr. India, I wish he gets everything.
yeah.
Because that's our childhood.
Yeah, that's
Seriously, yeah.
Everyone gives him all the money and
Yeah.
But it has
everyone works for you.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have I mean, I'm not doing anything towards it, but I want like to make a film which has this album that is just like has hits and hits and hits, and the music is like just the whole country is listening to it, dancing to it for years and years and years.
That's
Like I want to leave like a musical mark,
Right, yeah.
which I have definitely not even come close to even thinking how to go about it, but that would be amazing. Yeah.
गाने मुझसे लिखवा लेना.
कौन सा था? Sorry.
Nothing. I said I want my musical album to be the biggest hit. Then for years, people are only listening to my album.
But then no, Amitabh Bhattacharya. I take that back.
Mahabharata is my all-time favorite, I think. And with truly global series, I think each character you can make multiple seasons.
Yes.
That kind
Yes.
of. And Ashok, I felt one that made. I believe Ashoka has that. He's the only ruler who gave away after a victory, And the one they made, actually, the life of Avatar starts where the film ends.
Yeah.
So I think those two subjects are great subjects. I think, amazing subjects. I think I like to read it.
Here's hoping some of these materialize.
I know mine was really impossible. You went fantasy, utopian, in सबकी
thinking
बन
of so many.
जाएगी. इन सबके बन जाने वाली सिवाय में.
I feel her can be possible. Her is, I think, Netflix can for Netflix, great. You have a director who has proved with 2 films with you. She can make great films and she loves the source material so much. And if you can get those 3 actors, or maybe not the same actors, some other actors also, it would be outstanding on Netflix.
Never know.
चलो goal तो एक रख लिया.
Yeah, it's out there in the universe.
Yes.
It's out there. Thank you for your art, which has made us richer. Thank you for these incredible shows, these incredible series, these incredible films. They entertained us, of course, but they also made us think, and they also made us feel, which I think is so much more important than just 2 hours of entertainment. Thank you. Because of what you do, we are able to be able to laugh and cry and sort of feel myriad emotions, which we perhaps don't sometimes face in our own lives. So thank you so much for this, and thank you for sharing your wisdom and telling us how you do what you do and why you do what you do.
Wisdom.
So, more power, your wisdom. Indeed. Thank you.
All right, so that was a really, really interesting roundtable. Again, a great roundtable, getting to know what the directors, tried, and they're talking about their craft and the process, and, not getting into what films they made, but overall thoughts on different various things. And my favorite segment was the last one with your fantasy projects, because some of them can really happen. And I wish some of them really happen because I love them. That was really, really good. But again, just getting to know understanding, director's job, even in a film school, we had a course on direction, but I feel you cannot be taught direction. You cannot teach it. It has to be only experienced practically. You have to be a director because it's all about management. It's all about, keeping the vision straight and, tackling all the problems around you, all the issues, and solving them. It's problem solving, and I think that's very clear from this interview. I think if you want to be a director someday, watch other roundtables about it. Understand from the greats how they do it. You'll only learn because when you are stuck making a film, you will find, that director did that, so let me try if I can use that to solve my problem. So I think in that sense these are very, very good. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and you can check out this video next. If you like this, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.